Hello everyone, welcome to the Q&A session with Thầy Truc Thầy Minh, the abbot of Ba Vàng Pagoda. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear Thầy, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. Greeting everybody. I'm very happy to meet you today.
Dear Thầy, as Ba Vàng Pagoda has been very popular over the internet with the videos about alms rounds, recently we have received a lot of questions and comments regarding this matter. So I noticed that some people wonder why Buddhist monks and nuns have to work for alms, why they do not work to earn the living. And so now I'd like to read two questions from a YouTube account. Dear Thầy, I don't understand this. I am watching videos about alms round on your YouTube channel. The monks stay in what looks like a holiday resort. Why do they need to beg for food? Why don't they use their building money to buy food instead of taking food from normal people? So we'd love to hear from your answer. So please stay.
Dear Great Assembly, Ba Vàng Pagoda is a huge pagoda in Vietnam. There are many monks, nuns, and Buddhists cultivating and learning the Dharma here. Hence, the pagoda needs to be big enough to accommodate such a large number of people. There are ceremonies and retreats that attract tens of thousands of participants. Thus, a small pagoda would be insufficient. A room or yard must be sufficiently large. What's more, Ba Vàng Pagoda is also a beautiful pagoda. Why did the monks and lay Buddhists build Ba Vàng Pagoda so magnificently, which you claim is similar to a resort? Pagodas, particularly those in Vietnam, have long been a haven for spiritual nourishment. At home, people are often depressed and stressed about various issues such as their family, life, and so forth. Thus, they go to the pagoda to find inner peace. So, what should the pagodas look like to help with that? They must have trees and a harmonious layout. Additionally, the decorative patterns should match the aesthetics of the people. For example, Vietnamese people have Vietnamese aesthetics. Vietnamese pagodas are distinct from Thai ones. The same goes for Burmese and Chinese pagodas. Thus, it depends on the architecture of an ethnic group. Pagodas are where people come for spiritual enrichment, like the Vietnamese verse says. Pagoda roofs protect the soul of the nation and are associated with the age-old lifestyle of the ancestors. These lines are significant. The roofs of the pagodas represent the soul of the nation and the people. People come to pagodas to find freedom amid the turbulence of life. As a result, pagodas should be scenic to help visitors purify their minds. The minds and the surroundings have a strong influence on each other. Once we see something disturbing, our minds are likely to be disturbed. A Vietnamese poet named Nguyen Du stated, "How can the scene be cheerful when one is in grief?" Therefore, the tranquil scene of the pagodas easily settles people's thoughts. That is the first one. Secondly, the huge scale and beautiful scenery of Ba Vàng Pagoda stem from people's sincere respect for the Buddha and Buddhism. If people sincerely respect and love something, they will devote their best to it. That's why not only in Vietnam, but also throughout the world, almost all pagodas are known for their beautiful architecture and surrounding scenery. Everyone wants to go to pagoda and make it beautiful and dignified so as to satisfy their reverence for the Buddha and Buddhism. That's why pagodas are beautiful and dignified. Buddhist scriptures say, "To beautify the Buddha is to beautify ourselves." By adorning the Buddha, we also adorn ourselves. This is in accordance with the law of cause and effect in Buddhism. When we beautify a pagoda or Buddhist site, we will be blessed with good things in body and mind in our next lifetimes or even right in this lifetime. Therefore, with such beliefs and the law of cause and effect, Buddhists always wish to devote the best of themselves to the pagodas. For instance, there are gold-plated pagodas known as golden pagodas in Burma. There are stupas comprised of numerous tons of gold. There are those who are impoverished but save money and gold to gold-plate pagodas and the Buddha statues. That's an act of Buddhist belief, and it's also stated in Buddhist texts that the Buddhists adhere to. The same goes for Ba Vang Pagoda. When Ba Vang Pagoda was constructed, it was the combination of so many individuals' reverence towards the Buddha. As a result, it naturally became a solemn, beautiful, and peaceful scene. It is a reflection of people's minds. Again, I must say that the Ba Vang Pagoda is a manifestation of people's reverence towards the Buddha. Because there are individuals who revere Buddha like that, Ba Vang Pagoda is so dignified, serene, and beautiful. Whoever comes all feels peaceful, relieved, and free. In the Buddha's time, there was a wealthy merchant known as Anathapindika, or provider for widows and orphans. He was a Buddhist, a great admirer of the Buddha. He bought the imperial garden from Crown Prince Yeda, son of King Pasenadi. He bought the garden at an astronomical price, which was the amount of enough gold to cover the entire surface of the garden, and he had a beautiful monastery built there. Till this day, its vestiges still remain. The monastery's architecture is beautiful, majestic, and vast enough to accommodate the Buddha and his disciples. There are other impressive constructions since the Buddha's time in India. Or Nalanda University in India, it's a majestic, vast, and dignified construction. So, we can see that a beautiful and majestic pagoda expresses many things. I think it is the same for all religions, including Islam and Catholicism. Islamic mosques and Catholic churches are also beautiful works of architecture. It's the crystallization of the followers' faith and respect for their leaders and religions. Even the dignified Ba Vang Pagoda looks like a resort. It is the manifestation of reverent minds towards the Buddha and his teachings. Another question is, if monks live in such a beautiful and large pagoda, why don't they spend the money on food rather than collecting alms? I fully understand your concerns. For example, if monks took some money out to buy food, it would be so convenient for them, they would not need to go on alms round. But that is the perspective of who has not studied Buddhism, because the Buddha himself made the basic rule that monks must go on alms rounds to sustain themselves under normal circumstances. This is a virtue of monks, as all the ordained disciples of the Buddha must go collecting alms for food. The Buddha himself was a prince, but when he became a monk, he also went on alms rounds. In the Buddha's time, many kings, aristocrats, queens, and princesses became ordained and had to go on alms round for food too. That is what the Buddha demanded. However, he did not do that to make it difficult for the monks, but this is to train their virtues. Mendicancy brings a lot of benefits to the ordained. Firstly, it gives the monks the chance to practice humility. As their lives are sustained by everyone's offerings, they cannot be arrogant towards anyone. The food they eat and the clothes they wear are thanks to other people's generosity. Hence, they rely on others and cannot be arrogant to their helpers. As a result, they can develop a humble mind. Secondly, the monks go on alms rounds to practice patience. They must walk for alms no matter how harsh the conditions are, such as scorch, heavy rain, wind, storm, or thunderstorm. Whether they receive food or not, they have to be patient and endure it all. And occasionally on alms rounds, they might be scolded, insulted, and disrespected by people who don't understand Buddhism. What's worse, they may be assaulted or disgraced. That is the condition for the monks to practice patience. Thirdly, while the monk goes on alms, they can see the suffering of sentient beings, for example, the poverty of people, thereby comprehending, contemplating, and perceiving that life is really full of suffering. Sentient beings suffer immensely because of the notion of food. Thus, they are trapped endlessly in the cycle of reincarnation. Thanks to going on alms round, the monks will see that food is not important and will even become less attached to their bodies. Sentient beings are too attached to their bodies, thus, they suffer. But the Buddhist mendicants have recognized that this body is really not worth the attachment. And by collecting alms like this, a monk will be able to conquer greed and anger because the food doesn't always taste good, sometimes bad, sometimes salty, sometimes bland, right? Some days the food is spicy, on others it is sour, and so on. But the monks have to eat it all even if the food does not suit their taste. This is how they control their greed for food. Food is very important to secular people. It is one of 5 biggest desires out of the 5. So, for a Buddhist monk, eating is considered very light. He eats just to maintain his life. The monks eat to live, to cultivate themselves. They do not demand delicious food to satisfy the desire for taste. What's more, they collect alms to form a connection with people and to give them the chance to create blessings when they make offerings to the Buddhist monks. When putting even a portion of food into the monks' bowls, people are sowing seeds in the field of merits and will receive good blessings. For those reasons, the Buddha created the practice that Buddhist monks go on alms rounds for food. Although Ba Vang Pagoda is very big, very beautiful and dignified, it is merely built to serve the people and lay Buddhists. Vietnamese has a saying, "The land belongs to the king, the pagoda belongs to the people." Do you understand? The pagoda belongs to the people and is mainly used to serve the people. As for monks, we often practice in the forest, in very frugal places, in a hut, a secluded valley, or a very small tent. Sometimes, we practice in a cemetery, an empty house, or a cave. The pagoda is built as a place mainly for the monks to teach the Dharma, for Buddhists and for the people. Therefore, I hope you can clearly understand these 2 things. Pagodas belong to the people. People respect the Buddha and build it to create a beautiful scene for everyone to practice the Buddha's teachings. Because lay people cannot adopt practices like monks. Only monks can practice in the forest and endure such hardships, whereas lay people who are familiar with their home lives need shelter when they go to pagoda. They can't endure natural hardships. They need a comfortable condition to easily cultivate and nourish their mind. So, that's my answer for your question. Monks, especially those of Ba Vang Pagoda, are still practicing mendicancy to sustain their lives. Just because it is a big pagoda does not mean they can take its money to buy food. That is off limits.
Thank you, Thay, very much for your sharings. And your sharings have given us the very detailed information about the Buddhist tradition of alms rounds and its benefits. And I really hope all of the audiences out there will have the opportunity to just once in a lifetime to give alms to the Buddhist Sangha. If you have any questions, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below or email us at thaychuktiming.en@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again in the next video.